On today's Locked On Thunder podcast, the Thunder stave off the Suns, and SGA takes over this game.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day, the now number one sports podcasting network in the world. I'm your host, media member, and beat writer for Thunder on SI.com, Rylan Stiles. Follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. Follow the show on Twitter at LOThunderPod. Email the show, LOThunderPod@gmail.com. On today's show, we're getting started with the Thunder surviving the Phoenix Suns. SGA absolutely takes over this game in the fourth quarter, and Jalen Williams returns to the lineup. J-Dub was back. Ihart out with ankle soreness. Aaron Wiggins missed his 11th straight game, but did go through pregame warmups, and Ajay Mitchell leaves this game in the opening frame. So the Suns were without Grayson Allen, Jalen Green, and Ryan Dunn, but ultimately OKC holds on to advance to the knockout stage yet again. This was a slow start to this game offensively for Oklahoma City, really for both sides. It was a bit of a rock fight. There were little spurts where it felt like the Thunder were going to get going. There were little spurts where it felt like, okay, this is where the dam is going to break. This is where the avalanche comes true for Oklahoma City. But it just never did fully. And credit to the Suns. Like, they kept fighting. The Suns deserve so much credit for keeping this a game and withstanding many of these mini avalanche runs from OKC. The Suns got within 1 point and almost won the game, creating that turnover, but then ultimately giving it right back in that same sequence. And all that did was waste more time, so it actually worked out to OKC's benefit. But this was as impressive of a game as anyone has played against OKC. Sans Houston, like the most fight, the most grit, the most guts, especially in the Western Conference, including the game that the Thunder actually lost to Portland. The Suns are right there as like the most gutty team that pushed OKC and could handle the ebbs and flows of the game. But the Thunder in this one, you really could feel the absence of Isaiah Hartenstein. You felt it on the glass. You felt it in their half-court offense. He has been such a massive weapon for this team with his screen-setting ability to create advantages for easy buckets, his high-post playmaking to get guys open and take advantage of some available cuts that were there tonight that the Suns defense was going to let up from playing from behind them and cutting from like the deep corner that the Thunder just could not really get full advantage of without Isaiah Hartenstein. And then, of course, on the glass, you were killed in this game in large part due to not having Ihart. But Ihart's also been such a more aggressive scorer at the rim. His floater's been working. He's been able to take up rolls to the rim for dunks, and he was just not there tonight, and you felt his absence. You also felt Ajay Mitchell in this game, leaving early in the first quarter with a left knee contusion, and so we'll see how long he's out for, if any more games, but he was out for the rest of this game with that left knee contusion. But you certainly could notice the Thunder not having enough playmaking and table setting, especially for those secondary units in Dub's first game. Like, J-Dub was just not the typical shot creator that he is consistently enough tonight, and AJ would have really helped him get more acclimated into the NBA environment had he been able to play. But this was a game of runs the entire way, and the Thunder were able to stave off the Suns, and the Thunder, had that mini avalanche to start the third quarter. That created enough cushion to where they never truly let it go. They got up by as many as 15 points. They got as narrow as a 1-point lead, but eventually the Thunder do win and never let go of the rope here as OKC got crushed on the glass without Ihart, 60-45. OKC did force 18 turnovers and multiple shot clock violations. And the Thunder did a great job of funneling the ball to the right guy. The guy you want shooting at the end of the possession often ended the Suns' possessions, but their shot making was the great equalizer until Dillon Brooks' fourth quarter, where he went like 1 for 8, and he was just awful, and the Thunder were able to win. OKC had 10 turnovers of their own right, so a +8 in that category. The Thunder lose points in the paint by 4. They typically dominate this category, and they got obliterated in second chance points, 20-6, one of the most wide gaps, the widest gap of the year against the Thunder. The Thunder did win fast break points, but just by 2. Kind of alarming considering the turnover disparity, but the Thunder did win the fast break category. OKC shot 48% from the floor, 46% from 3, 85% at the charity stripe. Phoenix shot 45% from the floor, 34% from 3, and 83% at the free throw line. Here's where the Thunder get interesting, though, because we talked last game against Minnesota about how The recipe for OKC in the Timberwolves game, of that game being close, was OKC couldn't hit from the outside. They also couldn't hit at the rim. In this game, the Thunder still struggled at the rim. Like, this was not the night that they wanted to have at the rim, shooting 58%. However, they shot 46.9% on threes, 50% in the non-corner threes above the break, and 41% in the corners. And they were able to utilize that and push them to a win. And it just goes to show, like, the amount of ways the Thunder can win games. Whatever the team needs that night, they're just able to pull it out. They're just able to gut through it and get whatever is required from them to win a game. And that's why the Thunder are sitting here at 19-1. And that's why the Thunder are going to another knockout round of the NBA Cup and go perfect in the Western Conference Group A pool play. The Suns, credit to them for doing their job. They're also advancing to the knockout round because of the narrow point differential that this game had, and it kept them in the lead of the tiebreaker for the point differential. So they're also going to the knockout round. We'll get the matchups pretty soon. Probably live on this pod is when we're going to get the matchups. The Spurs upset the Nuggets. They're advancing. That'll be a lot of fun to see. So we'll see what the matchups hold for OKC in the NBA Cup. But this was a good win for the Thunder. This was an exciting win for the Thunder. And this was a game that they really had to test themselves down the stretch. They had to battle through some adversity. They had to battle through tough shot making. They had to battle through some of those turnovers. Like, they almost got a 5-second call, luckily burned their last timeout instead of getting the 5-second call, and were able to get the ball in after that timeout. But then Shai has the ball knocked loose, and now it's a scramble drill that eventually goes OKC's way, but it easily couldn't have had that result played out differently. You would have even gotten more experience late in games. And so the amount of clutch games are piling up a little bit here in the first month of the season, despite having historically great net rating. If you look at the bookends of what we're talking about the 2 games that went to double overtime to start the season. And then now this week, you played a clutch game against Minnesota, played this clutch game against Phoenix. You've had some more clutch minutes, like that game against Memphis, whether the game got to clutch time, technically speaking, within 5 at 5 minutes. And then the Thunder blew them right back out, and it did not stay clutch time. So they've had to deal with a lot of different outcomes in clutch time, and that's going to prepare them ultimately for the playoffs. I thought that they handled it very well in this game, and a large part of that goes to SGA, who absolutely dominated this fourth quarter, dominated this game in the second half, and continues to show you why he's so elite and so masterful scoring the ball. But first, I want to say right now, but good friends over at DoorDash, go check out DoorDash today because they're incredible, and you want to try them out today because the NBA season is heating up, and DoorDash has found the perfect way to keep fans in their bag all season long. Whether you're watching for the highlights, your fantasy team, or your favorite player, DoorDash makes every game at night even better. DoorDash is the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA, and they're celebrating something that they call the bag drop. Every time an NBA player scores 50 or more points in a game, DoorDash drops 50% off your order with DoorDash Dash Pass the next day. And you're also automatically entered for a chance to win the ultimate fan bag. We're talking player-inspired drip, exclusive gear, stuff you actually want. I love DoorDash because if you stayed up way too late tonight after this late tip and, perhaps you didn't host Thanksgiving, you don't have all the leftovers, and it's a Saturday with college football on, you want to just order in tonight, and you can do that with DoorDash. Go check that out today at DoorDash. The next time somebody goes for 50 points, use promo code NBA50 the next day to get 50% off at DoorDash with Dash Pass, plus your shot at the ultimate bag drop. Dash Pass members only, 50% up to $10 off the next day after a 50-point game with promo code NBA50. Terms and conditions apply. No purchase necessary. Ends April 13th. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Visit DoorDashInYourBag.com for full details. DoorDash in your bag all season long. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day here, talking about the Thunder and their win over the Suns. They take care of business and get to that knockout round of the NBA Cup. SGA just brought it tonight in a big way in that second half. And this was a tale of two halves for him, frankly. But that fourth quarter, he earned his money playing in a rare fourth quarter. He was incredible. He flipped the switch in the second half to really get going. And early on, the consensus around the Thunder ecosystem was that Shai really didn't have it. Like he was missing his typical mid-range jumpers. He also had a shot miss at the rim, which was just a gimme shot that he missed. He missed a couple free throws, like that shot at the rim in transition, and a couple free throws really embodied what that first quarter was for him as a scorer. But yet, it all eventually comes to pass for SGA. It eventually comes back around to him. And in the midst of that struggle, you saw what's going to elevate this team. And what's going to elevate this team is no matter if Shai is having an off-scoring night to start a game or a red-hot scoring night to start a game, he plays the exact same way. He doesn't shy away from opportunities to score, but he also doesn't force the issue. He doesn't do a lot of heat checks. He doesn't do a lot of let me shoot my way out of this. He just plays the game. Like he had an opportunity here where he splits the defense, gathers at the nail in the mid-range, and then keeps his foot down, dishes a dime behind the back of his defender to J. Will in the slot for three. J. Will cashes it home. He has an opportunity coming down the floor where he gets the defender on his hip. He's coming down the lane and then flips a behind-the-shoulder pass to J. Will. J. Will, top of the key, three, boom. Like he remained a really good passer. He made quick decisions out of the double team to find Cason Wallace a couple of times for three in that scenario. And you saw SGA take over this game both as a scorer and a playmaker. And that ties into his ability to read the floor. Like the biggest moment from Shai was him dribbling it out top of the key. Everybody in the building, everybody in the basketball universe knows SGA's taking that shot. The Suns know it. The Thunder know it. Everyone knows Shai's taking that shot. The Suns tip their hand a little bit. They show that the help side and that the double is coming from the middle. Shai spots that while he's trying to go middle, crosses over, goes right instead, rises up one-on-one, gets a foul call at the elbow, knocks in the and one. Being able to diagnose what the defense is doing has not only helped him become a better passer, it's helped him become a better scorer. He's seeing now where the attention is coming from, where his gravity is pulling guys. And he's playing off of that, both for himself and for others. And then he continues to be a deadly shooter. Like the sidestep three that he hit, not only was it a great shot, not only was it a much needed shot at that moment in time, but it was a shot that got Shai out of character. It was rare. We've seen this now a couple times this season. This has been a new phenomenon for Shai. But he hits this sidestep three. The place is going berserk. And Shai is turning to his bench, doing his new three-point celebration. He's pounding his chest. He's screaming at the Thunder bench while the Suns are walking the ball down the floor. Not during a stoppage. They're walking the ball down the floor. So he just lost himself in the emotion and in the competitiveness of the game. And it's been interesting to see him become a more emotional player. And that emotion kind of riling up. It's like riling up your dog in the living room. Like your mom tells you not to, don't rile up the dog, don't rile up the dog. But it's so fun. You want to get the dog going. You want to get some energy in the place. And it's like Shai is riling up his dogs. He's riling up his teammates to get going for these big moments when they're on the verge of a big run, when they're on the verge of a big win. It was really interesting to see this development of Shai's game from an ethos standpoint, as well as the ones we've talked about from the actual game itself. He had one step-back triple in the third quarter with a minute left. After the Suns had made a run, they had made a run to make it single digits. That step-back three balloons it back out to a double-digit lead for OKC. So he had the step-back three working. He eventually got the mid-range working, and they just could not stop SGA in that fourth quarter. Absolutely took the game over. He ends up with, remember, we spent the first quarter, and so in the start of the second quarter, him hauling around, it might not be Shai's night. Might not be Shai's night tonight, and everyone deserves an off night. And for most of this game, it was an off night for Shai. And Shai's version of an off night tonight was 37 points, 8 assists, 3 rebounds, a steal, 50% shooting from the floor, 3 for 5 from 3. He ties Wilt Chamberlain for the second longest 20-point streak in NBA history with 92. First place is also Wilt. He's about 35 games away from taking over first place if he can get there. But man, what a run he is on. And this guy is a true generational scorer. This guy is truly one of the best you've ever seen play the game. And you've really got to appreciate what he does for this team, what he does for this team in real time, because you can't appreciate it enough. You cannot watch it enough. Like this is something that you'll always be talking about. He's that kind of player, and he shows it time and time again. Whether it's an NBA Cup game or the NBA Finals, he shows it time and time again that he's the kind of player that transcends generations, that transcends eras, that will never leave the consciousness of the NBA's mind. It's impressive to watch. Again, off night was 37 points, 8 assists, 3 rebounds, a steal, 50% shooting from the floor, and 3 for 5 from 3. That's special stuff. Jalen Williams returned in this game. He starts it out with a nice pocket pass to Chet Holmgren from the elbow, with Chet rolling to the rim, and Chet capitalizes with an easy rim finish. This is a side tangent of what we were talking about with the ways that Chet's improved, the ways that iHeart's improved, the way that AJ's improved, the way that this team has gotten better. Yes, it's happened for the first 19 games without Jalen Williams, but it's all in ways that tie back to J-Dub. It's all in ways that J-Dub is additive toward, and he's not subtracting from anything. And you saw that tonight with his playmaking and how often he and Chet really got going in the two-man game. And it led to Jalen Williams really shining as a playmaker, because Chet going to the rim more this season helps both Shai and J-Dub. It helps give them a release valve for their drives, and it helps give them an option for if they can't get the separation that they like at the elbow, on the mid-range, on the baseline. It just helps smooth over their attempts. He bailed out of a midi to give Chet a top-of-the-key three. Clean look. Chet happened to miss, but that was, again, another sign of these two guys being on the same page. He also ran the fast break perfectly. Got a steal, lobs it to Kenrich Williams. Kenrich Williams throws a touch pass off the catch back to J-Dub. J-Dub rises up, slams it home, gets the Paycom Center crowd rocking for the first time at that point. This was a lackluster crowd, frankly, for the start of the game. That was the first play that really breathed life into the Paycom Center and really got his team going. And this is what we talk about when we talk about that you can't replicate J-Dub's energy. He's going to do something, a rim-rattling dunk, a steal and slam in transition, a deflection that leads to a transition opportunity, a big three. He's going to do something that incites almost a riot, like a riot of emotion, of positive emotion. And he's someone who creates that consistently. He was back running the secondary lineups in the second quarter, had the nice dump off the Cason Wallace for a jump shot in the dunker spot for 2 easy points. We talk about gravity all the time, but look no further to the fact that Jalen Williams, like to embody his gravity and how J-Dub, has utilized that as a playmaker as well. Lou Dort tries to set a guard-for-guard screen for J-Dub. J-Dub rejects the screen, goes into the middle of the floor, and yet Brooks leaves Lou Dort to go still double J-Dub. J-Dub swings it back to Lou, wide open. Again, Lou happened to miss. But those quick decisions are going to pay off for the Thunder. As you saw tonight, they paid off in a big way. Like even tonight, he had 8 assists tonight in his first game back. That could have been 9 and 10 from 2 plays we talked about that were a miss. He got into the paint, shoveled it over to Chet. Chet had the easy slam. He had a knockdown catch and shoot triple after SGA kicked it out to him, playing off of Shai. He blocked Devin Booker into the third row in the third quarter to keep that a 10-point game and to keep that kind of cushion built up. But ultimately, in his first game back, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, a block. 8 assists, 2 steals, 8 assists, 2 steals, a block, 3 for 12 from the floor, 1 for 1 from deep, 4 for 4 at the line, and a +4. That's about what you can only hope to see in his first game back. To me, he didn't quite elevate the fourth quarter lineup offensively like we've seen him do in the past tonight. He struggled to create his own shot at the same level. Look, this is a really good Suns defense. First and foremost, let's credit the Suns defense. They've been really good all season long, but couldn't quite create the separation that we're used to seeing from him. But it all ties back to the injury. I know it was not an injury that hindered him from staying in shape or that hindered him from working on his body, because it was just his wrist. And so he could still be doing his conditioning. He could still be doing his physical therapy and all that stuff. But there's nothing that can replicate NBA speed. There's nothing that can replicate live NBA defenses. No matter what you do in your workouts, in your rehab, no matter how much conditioning you do, nothing can duplicate this. And I think that we're going to see him really catch his stride soon now that he's gotten a game under his belt. So all in all, I think that this was a good game from J-Dub. Yes, it wasn't efficient. Yes, he didn't quite elevate that fourth quarter lineup like we're used to seeing him do. That can't be a concern. Like, if that's a concern for you, you're seeking a problem where the one isn't. You know who J-Dub is. You know what this team looks like when J-Dub is in charge of those secondary units. And again, I point out how big of a deal it was for in his first game back, him not to have AJ. to help ease some of that load and work him back in and acclimate him back to this team, smoother. So J-Dub, all in all, I thought was a really good return. It wasn't anything eye-popping, wasn't anything extraordinary, but it's something to build on. It was a good foundation. Let's tie a bow on it there. It was a good foundation for Jalen Williams returning to action tonight. Let's talk Lu Dort, Cason Wallace, Chet Holmgren, who was in attack mode all day. I thought that J. Will really delivered in the absence of iHeart. We'll talk about all that coming up. But first, I want to say right now, my good friends over at FanDuel, go check out FanDuel today because FanDuel is awesome. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bettings that can do anything from who will score the next bucket to who will win the game in the fourth quarter with some comebacks. Plus, you can combine the live bets into the same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet hits. Again, $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet hits at FanDuel.com as a new customer. Sign up today at FanDuel.com, the official sports betting partner of the NBA, and you're going to want to go there right now to check them out. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. Let's talk Lu Dort, who I thought was awesome tonight as a guy that just made timely shots. Like the box score wasn't that great, but he just did timely things to help this team. Starting out the game on a personal 5-0 run. Hit a three off the opening tip, gets a steal and finish at the rim for a personal 5-0 run. Gets the illegal screen on Mark Williams to give Mark Williams 3 fouls in the first half. That kind of changes how a big man can operate in the paint the rest of the way. Knocked down a midi early in the third quarter when this team was trying to really get going. Had a huge steal in the fourth quarter on back-to-back possessions with under 2 minutes to go. You look at how narrow this game was. You look at how many shots that they were able to find from three the Suns were in the fourth quarter. And getting 2 straight stops in the fourth quarter is big time from Lu Dort. It's what you pay Lu Dort to do. It's what you have Lu Dort on the floor to do. 7 points, 2 rebounds, 3 steals, a block. Only went 1 for 4 from 3, 3 for 7 overall. But Lu Dort made that impact to start the game, made the impact to end the game, and helps you get this win. I thought that Cason Wallace was the definition of doing your job. He was Bill Belichick's favorite player in this game. Hit the floater in the lane, hit that baseline midi we talked about, went 2 for 3 on his threes, 14 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal, 6 for 9 overall. A nice night for him, a +5 in the box score. Cason Wallace, one thing I love about his game, I love his ability to run the lane in transition and fill the lane in transition. He understands when's the right moment to cut off of the ball handler and try to get at the rim in transition. He understands when he needs to flatten out and just go to the corner and get some easy 3 looks in transition. He balances that really well, and he continues to so far. But Chet Holmgren, I thought was another story of this game. I thought that the front court of Chet and J. Will really delivered tonight. Chet, for being in attack mode, early and often he was looking to score. He realized that Mark Williams was playing higher into the mid-paint. He attacks behind him all night, finding success at the rim because of the attention that Mark Williams has to playing higher to get to a J-Dub midi, to get to a Shai midi, to extend himself and try to contest and have a hard closeout on a potential 3 from Chet Holmgren, from J. Will, from the bigs that were in the game. So like he understood that and understood that the best course of action would be to get to the rim. He did that really well tonight. He splashed in a corner 3 in the second quarter off the catch, another version of him not just being at the top of the key, but now kind of roaming around and finding it in the corner. He had a putback dunk off of a Shai missed midi early. Hit a 3 off of a kick out from J-Dub in the slot. That was really good. The offensive board to force Booker into 4 fouls in the third quarter was big, but the defensive board with 20 seconds left let the Thunder try to put the finishing touches on the line. He went 1 for 2 from the line, but 1 for 2 was good enough to get the win. You would have liked to see him go 2 for 2, but a big rebound with 20 seconds left, which is what made the win possible. He tallies up 23 points, 8 rebounds, and assists, 2 for 5 from 3, and 61% from the floor in this game. And J. Will delivered. Look, you didn't have iHeart, and we already talked about how iHeart's absence left a void in this game. But J. Will made big threes, didn't miss his first shot until the fourth quarter. But it wasn't just about the threes. He played his role as a play finisher on this team. He capitalized on the open shots that his guards set him up for from beyond the arc, but he also read the defense really well. He even drove off of a catch and finished in the lane, but they gave him a charge as Gillespie flew in late to the paint to get the charge. Block charge call there. The refs were not great tonight, frankly, for either side, but in particularly for the Thunder, they were not great. But that play, sure, whatever. The biggest point though here is that he went to the rack, and he went to the rack responsibly. It's like driving responsibly, folks. He went to the rack responsibly, because so much talk is made whenever guys are missing threes to just get to the rim, just get to the rim. Jay Will understands that you can't just get to the rim. You've got to pick your spots, because with Jay Will, if you're facing a set defense in the half court, your guy's playing off of you at least to around the elbow extended line and relying on his ability to use his length to close out and contest your three, and bracing for the possibility that you come into the paint. Plus, you have a backline defender at the paint. So it's not as easy as just driving against a set defense for Jay Will. Now, where he can play off the catch, because he's slimmed down, and this is a big talking point he had at Media Day, where he can play off the catch is you get into this semi-transition, or you get against a slanted defense look, and he gets the ball swung to him, and there's a wide open spaces in the paint, then he can go downhill to the rim. And you saw him do that twice tonight. One was a charge, one was the and one. You also saw him utilize the pass fake and the pump fake to get shots for himself. The pump fake gets Mark Williams in the air, fly by. He takes one dribble in to attack that closeout, rises up for the mid-range jumper. Mark Williams does a good job of competing, trying to get back in the play, but he's behind Jay Will the whole play now, and Jay Will knocks down that midi, and that was a big focal point of him from Media Day when asked about why he was slimming down, was that he felt like guys would start respecting his three-point shot more. Well, the last couple of weeks, you've seen that three-point shot come to the fold more and come around for him more percentage-wise. Guys are starting to respect it. He's now got a counter to that, and we'll see where that goes from here on out. But again, didn't miss his first shot until the fourth quarter. And one of those misses hit quite literally every single part of the rim and then rattled out. And that and one came with it being a 1-point differential. That's big time. That's big time from Jay Will. 14 points, 4 rebounds, 1 for 1 from 3. 1 for 1 from the free throw line, 3 for 6 from 3, 4 for 9 overall. Isaiah Joe, I thought that he showed you his growth in this game. What we've been harping on with Isaiah Joe, you saw it full out tonight. First play, makes the extra pass to Kinrich on a quick decision, doesn't let the defense reset. He gets the ball, Isaiah Joe gets the ball swung to him. He's a step behind the three-point line. He has space to shoot. That defender is still drawn to him because he's such a lethal shooter. But he quickly dumps it off, passes it one more, swings it over to Kinrich, who's in the deep corner. Kinrich is wide open, knocks it down. Instead of stalling, instead of holding the ball, trying to literally read a book out there with the ball in his hands, it's determined. He knows where Kinrich is at. He knows where the defense is at. He gets the swing pass immediately. Kinrich comes through for him. He did an incredible job hitting a 3 off the catch where he first dumps it into Caruso. Caruso has it at the nail. Caruso kicks it right back to Isaiah Joe. It's at the end of the third quarter, and Isaiah Joe nails it. But I thought his best play was his composure he showed in the first play of the fourth quarter, with the shot clock quite literally dwindling to nothing. Like as it leaves his hand, the shot clock goes off. But the play initially has 2 actions blown up, one of which was Isaiah Joe trying to drive and being on the ball. Isaiah Joe gets walled up at the free throw line. And Isaiah Joe gets off the ball, goes to Caruso, cuts through the action, goes under the rim, and that cut through freezes the defense. He darts out to the corner, catches it in stride in the corner, and knocks it down. That's movement, that's relocation, that's creating your own 3. That's not being set up, that's not being a stationary catch and shoot option who's just standing there. That's creation for yourself off the ball. It is something we've talked about all summer when talking about how does Joe, how does Wiggins, how do these guys find more playoff minutes? How do they make themselves a bigger impact player for this team? This is how you do it from Isaiah Joe, and he's done it all season long. 10 points in this one, 2 for 5 from 3, 4 for 9 overall, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. Really nice fourth quarter from him. And again, we mentioned Ajay Mitchell leaves in the first quarter, goes to the locker room in the first quarter, left knee contusion. You'll monitor that moving forward to see how he will fare, to see what the future holds for him. We'll see what Wiggins' status is. iHeart had an ankle soreness designation, so soreness doesn't really alarm anyone. We'll see what happens there. The next game is Sunday against Portland. So we'll see this team play the Trailblazers again on Sunday against Portland, which means Monday's show is a recap of that game against Portland. We'll also have on Tuesday our weekly preview with Derek Parker. We'll talk about our takeaways from this week of Thunder basketball, preview the week ahead. We'll also on Tuesday have our squad show with Jeremy Lamb and Tyler Jones. And then on Wednesday, you'll have another special guest. I don't want to reveal it yet, but it's a special guest on Tuesday heading into Wednesday. And then we'll be back in the flow of things. So plenty of content for you coming up on Locked On Thunder. Monday, we're going to recap this Portland game. J-Dub's second game of the season. How does he look in that one? How do the Thunder look in Portland, trying to avenge their one loss of the year in Portland this time instead of avenging it in the Paycom Center? I can't wait. I'm excited about it. I am thankful for all of you who listen to the show every single morning, every single day. We're here for you talking Thunder basketball. Love all of you who come up to me in the arena. That's been a lot of fun. So make sure you keep doing that. And folks, until next time, be good and be good to one another.